Ethiopia's Dirara Yurisa finished first in Sunday's Vienna Marathon, but he did not win the race. Instead, he was disqualified for wearing the wrong shoes during the race. After the 24-year-old crossed the finish line, he was told of the disqualification because he was wearing the wrong shoes with soles that were 1 centimeter thicker than the 4 centimeter maximum. So the original second place finisher, Leonard Langat of Kenya, was declared the winner. Langat finished in 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 25 seconds, 3 seconds after Harissa. The organizers of the marathon said that when Urisa originally entered the race, he registered with shoes that were in line with their guidelines. He did not go with those shoes for the race, though, and instead wore ones he had used during the training, which had soles that were too thick. In Ephesians 6, Paul tells us to stand firm with our feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. It may be strange to consider shoes to be part of your armor, but can you imagine going to battle shoeless? You would most likely be in pain with every step as you pass over all kinds of harsh landscape. Ultimately, it would inhibit your ability to fight. 1 Samuel 15:22 tells us, "Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams." Have you ever been given a list of instructions, looked at the information, and just said, you can be bothered? Following Jesus means obeying God's commands, even when they seem inconvenient, insignificant, outrageous, or scary. You can look at 1 John 5:3 and John 14:15. God is in control of all things at all times, and He works everything out for our good. Romans 8:28. We can trust God's instructions because He wants better for us than we want for ourselves. When we listen to God and do what God says, the outcome will always be for our benefit and His glory, and it will always come in His time. Let's reflect. Think of a time when you were obedient to God, even when it wasn't what you wanted to do. What's one blessing that came as a result of your obedience? What next step is God asking you to do today? What, if anything, is holding you back from following the instructions God has given you? Can you see yourself being qualified to enter God's eternal home if you consistently disobey God's instructions? May God help you and I to choose obedience over what we think, because God's thoughts for us and God's instructions for us are always way above what we think or what we can imagine. Let's walk in obedience today, will you? It will save us from disqualification to the kingdom of God. Shalom.